Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining me, everybody, for this special whiskey head to head. I have been excited to do this head to head for a while, and today I had my first opportunity to do it, so doing it here with you. We have the Heaven Hill 7-year bottle and bond versus the Henry McKenna 10-year bottle and bond, but a single barrel. Now, both of these have the same mash bill. Both of them are coming from Heaven Hill. Thus, the main difference is the 3-year age statement and then the price. So these, depending on your area, will cost between $15 to $20 more, from the Heaven Hill being the cheaper one, the Henry McKenna being the more expensive one. So I wanted to do this head to head today to see which one would win, and if paying up for the Henry McKenna, if you went to the store and saw both of them at the same time, would paying up be worth it? So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. All right. Now, for today's head to head, I am not going to be doing this blind. I have the Henry McKenna marked with a green sticker and the Heaven Hill marked with an orange sticker. The reason that I'm not doing it blind is, quite frankly, the extra oak on the Henry McKenna stands out. I could sit here and fake it like it was blind, but I would know within the first 10 seconds. So I'll just be straight up with you. This is not going to be a blind head to head, but this is the first time that I have drank them both side by side, which I have been very interested in doing. Now, pulling up the stats on these real quick. As I mentioned earlier, the main difference between these two will be the price and the age. So I paid $55 for the Heaven Hill bottle and bond. In your area, there might be a price difference plus minus $10. For the Henry McKenna single barrel, I paid $70. Once again, might be a price difference in your area, plus minus 10 to 15 even. So if you were to see both of these, is one of them worth it more than the other? Is it worth paying up for the extra 3-year age statement? Because they are both the same proof, and the main difference then becomes the 7 years versus the 10 years. The other thing to keep in mind with the Henry McKenna is, because it is a single barrel product, it can vary. And these are notorious for being hit and miss. If you've talked to somebody that has drank quite a few of these, half of them were great and half of them were just okay. So you are rolling the dice. So you got to kind of factor that in a little bit when you're looking to pay up. Do you want to buy the thing that's consistent, or do you want to gamble on a single barrel? Now, I did score these prior to all this, is what set up the head to head. So when it came to flavor, experience, and value, they rated very, very similarly. I actually gave the Heaven Hill bottle and bond a little bit of an edge on the flavor, but then brought it down for experience. Off memory, it's mainly because I really liked the candy bar flavors that were coming off the Heaven Hill bottle and bond. But it wasn't as oily, it didn't have the mouthfeel, it didn't have the complexity in some flavors. So that brought down the experience comparatively. So going into the overall score, when it was all said and done, they were both sitting there at a 78 out of 100. And I was like, oh man, they had to tie. Now, I do think I maybe could have given the Heaven Hill or the Henry McKenna a few extra points. So maybe that's more in a 79, 80 range. But scores are what they are. They are right in the same range of each other. And once again, maybe you got some single barrels that hit versus miss. So the Henry McKenna is going to have more of a plus minus to it anyway. So if I were to see these two on the shelf, which one am I going to buy again? So let's get into this here. Now, knowing that they scored the exact same way, I've never tasted them side by side. So I'm going to taste the Heaven Hill first, then I'll do the Henry McKenna, and then I'll do one last dip, starting with the Henry McKenna and then going back to the Heaven Hill to give each of them the chance to go first. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining me this far. So stated off the top, when it comes to the Heaven Hill, so we're going to do the orange sticker, which is the Heaven Hill. That one comes across, even on the nose, as more straightforward, but these deeper candy bar flavors. Lots of butterscotch, Lots of creamy peanut butter, vanilla extract, the barrel char, burnt brown sugar. That all comes across on the nose. Okay, let's get into the taste. Mm. And the taste really carries through on that. Once again, lots of vanilla, lots of butterscotch, little hits of pepper here and there, kind of coming from that char I was saying on the nose. Even a bit of a praline to go with that creamy peanut butter. Um, then at the very end, really it all descends and brightens up on the finish into this really nice vanilla. So, just going to highlight the fact that when we're talking about the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, peanut butter, butterscotch, vanilla, so on and so on, burnt brown sugar, candy bar, candious kind of flavors. All right, let's get into the Henry McKenna. Cheers, everybody. And as I said off the top there, that oak, it stands out. It sounds out so strong. Very very strong note. Even stronger now doing this comparison. I really enjoy the oak that I'm getting off the Henry McKenna. The other thing that stands out about this Henry McKenna, though it is a single barrel, keep in mind, is there's a layer of fruits that aren't on the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. Getting some medicinal cherry and even some peaches and cream on the nose. There's a lot of spices too, kind of clove, nutmeg. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Let's get into the taste. Hmm. It's a bit more muted up front than the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, which is interesting. But by the time you get to the mid palate, oh man, those flavors really do explode. The thing that's sticking out on this head to head is the fruits and the oak. So I guess that's the thing that this one has as separating that they don't have in common. So those things are starting to stick out. But mid palate, this is all sweet oak, custard, cherry, and nutmeg. Towards the finish, that custard really moves into this really nice creme brulee with that charred sugary top all over it. The oak is omnipresent. Get a little bit of the peaches on the back end too. And just like the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, both of them dovetail essentially into a vanilla towards the end of the finish. Honestly, the finishing note is kind of very, very similar between the two. They are the same mash bill, so that makes sense, but it's more similar than I would have expected. All right, last sip on each. So starting out with the McKenna here, giving it a chance to go first. Yeah, the main thing stands. I think the thing that held me back from giving it a higher flavor score, I just want to turn the volume up a little bit on some of these flavors. There's some really good flavors there, but they almost seem flat or dull. Now let's go to the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. Yeah, I think those same thoughts stand. The Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond is just all of your down the middle candy flavors, the butterscotch, the caramels, the vanillas, but they have the volume turned up. Like I was saying, was missing on that Henry McKenna. The volume's turned up, but the complexity isn't there. So it is kind of a catch 22. I wish it had the fruits of the one versus the other. By the end of this, I'm going to blend the two. But now that I said that out loud, but that's the thing that's kind of missing between the two. So it's the volume on the dessert flavors versus the extra fruits and complexity and oak on the Henry McKenna. So when I'm talking about what I would prefer, I guess it's contextual. If I'm seeing both of these on the shelf at the same time, I am most likely buying the Henry McKenna 10 year. I'm going to be buying it though, maybe not for myself, but as a gift because they do make very, very good gifts. The Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, though, this one is one that's always going to be on my shelf. I think it is a really solid one to keep around, and I tend to use this one as my control pour when we're doing blinds, with it being 7 year and 100 proof, and having some of these base flavors that I was describing, it's a really good way to hone my senses. So I just like that as a daily drinker. So to answer the question, I guess if you see these two on the shelves, if you're looking for something to take a chance on for a more special occasion or a gift, I'd go the Henry McKenna. That'll get you the oak. If you're looking to save the money, you are perfectly fine with the Heaven Hill 7 year. It is going to give you all these delicious dessert flavors. Honestly, I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one, especially at those price points. But don't pay up beyond what we're talking about. I don't think they drink higher than where they are today and what I paid for them. So let me know in the comments what you think about these two pours. And then while we're chatting here, oh man, well, I guess it is what it is. Let's do a 50% pour here. Let's see if we can get the fruits to balance out with the dessert flavors of the one and the volume turned up. Well, cheers, everybody. That's pretty legit. Oh my God, the volume did turn up. I am happy about that as well. All right. So I'm going to go enjoy that blend there for quite a while. Oh, that's wonderful. The blend wins the two. So if you have, I guess the point is buy them both and blend them. I guess that's where that just ended. Oh, geez. But let me know in the comments what you think about these two pours. Which one would you pick? And if you're seeing these more and more often, as I have the last 3 or 4 months, really, really curious what you're seeing in your area. So thank you for joining us today, whiskey friends. We'll catch you on the next video. Goodbye, everybody.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again.